Hey, it was you, wasn't it? You're the one who stepped on my hand.
Maybe I did.
What's a little girl like you doing here anyway?
I dunno. What's a big dum-dum like you doing here anyway?
Hey, that's not very nice. Didn't your parents teach you any manners?
Laura is one of the most interesting people that James Sunderland will encounter during the events of the game Silent Hill 2. The only innocent person wandering the fog-laden streets of this town, Laura would find her way to Silent Hill in search of James' wife Mary, whom she'd met during a stay at the same hospital. A journey that would see her making some questionable connections along the way, before running into Mary's husband, whom she'd already made up her mind was a bad man.
Laura?
How do you know my name?
Eddie told me.
That big, fat blabbermouth.
Laura, why do you keep running away from me?
The story of Laura as we know it begins in almost complete mystery. What we do know is that she was an orphan who would wind up sharing the same hospital as James' wife Mary for unknown reasons. The pair sharing the same nurse while occupying the facility, and presumably through her they would forge an unlikely friendship. Mary enjoying the company as her husband had become distant, and Laura growing to see Mary as almost a mother-like figure. A connection that would rapidly evolve as the two isolated castaways found kinship in each other. Mary would tell the bright-eyed girl stories of her life, her marriage, and most importantly, of the memories she cherished from a place known as Silent Hill. Laura listening intently as she was shown photos of the haven, but the love Mary seemed to relay for her honeymoon there with her husband James didn't quite make sense. In Laura's mind, James had all but abandoned his quickly fading wife, and for that, she would begin to harbor deep feelings of resentment for this man who could treat her quasi-adoptive mother so poorly. However, as Mary's condition continued to worsen beyond any hope of recovery, the doctors would suggest that she return home to be in comfortable surroundings for the time she had left. Believing that goodbyes would be too difficult for both Laura and herself, Mary would opt to instead write a letter for her which would be delivered once she'd passed away, giving that letter to their shared nurse Rachel, as well as one for her husband, asking that she deliver them both once she'd passed.
My dearest Laura, I'm leaving this letter with Rachel to give to you after I'm gone. I'm far away now, in a quiet, beautiful place. Please forgive me for not saying goodbye before I left.
As was inevitable, Mary would die shortly after leaving the hospital, Laura not knowing her fate as she questioned where she could have possibly gone. Searching for answers, she would find the letter and mistakenly take her comments about being far away to suggest that she'd gone to Silent Hill, the town that was so often the basis of her happiest memories. With a heading, Laura would run away from the hospital, taking both letters with her as she attempted to track down this mysterious town, running into a man named Eddie Dombrowski along the way, who would agree to assist her in her journey. The pair arriving to find the location thick with fog, but otherwise entirely abandoned. The bright-eyed child searching through the desolate streets, finding nothing but walls to be drawn on, and surprisingly Mary's husband James, who was also here in search of his wife. His appearance no doubt validating that she was on the right track. However, while hope filled her, reality was not so kind. She would play a game of cat and mouse with James around the town, in the end even forming a sort of mutual friendship. But the truth was the truth, and James had been running from it this entire time. His darkest revelation just around the corner, which would shatter every dream that had driven this lonely, hopeful young girl. Laura is one of the few innocent people that can be found wandering the deserted streets of this once idealistic lake town. An orphan in a world that seems to have forgotten about her, Laura would find true connection with another abandoned soul only for that friendship to be ripped away. The hole in her heart left by this absence, causing her to flee everything she knew in search of rekindling that fire. A journey that would teach her the cold truth, but also allow her to finally take her next step forward.